Surreal. It's like you know you're having a crash, and the plane is bouncing really hard. Everybody's screaming. The plane starts going back up again, and you don't know if you're going to go on tailspin or not. And luckily we didn't.
Lucky indeed. Calling it surreal, the experience of being on that Boeing 777, which crashed and burned while landing at San Francisco International Airport. We'll hear from a survivor coming up, someone who walked away from the wreckage. His dramatic story is just ahead. Good morning, America. I'm Bianca Golodriga.
And I'm Dan Harris. This is Sunday, July 7th. The man we're going to speak to has been on that flight 173 times. He knew something was wrong quite early. We'll talk to him about it in just a minute. Also this morning, some fascinating and possibly life-saving information about surviving a plane crash, the decisions you can make in the moment that could make a huge difference.
Some incredible statistics there. But let's start by going to Eugene Roth, who was on board Asiana Flight 214. Eugene is a businessman, a hip-hop producer who, as Dan has just said, actually made this trip 173 times. He's with his daughter, Eunice Roth, who was not on board, but in touch with her dad as soon as he landed. Thank you for joining us. I can imagine how surreal this must have been for you, Eugene. And again, we keep reiterating that you've been on this flight nearly 200 times, but you knew something was wrong when you were landing. What gave you that sense?
Well, as we were descending to prepare the landing, I looked outside through the window, and I just knew we were too low. So I was holding the chair so hard, I was basically preparing for the crash. And then it was bang. The impact was so powerful. And we thought, I thought that was it. I thought I was dying. Yeah, until the plane stopped.
Wow. It's hard to get more terrifying than what you were describing right now. What was the atmosphere in the cabin as the plane was crashing and then when it came to a stop?
When it first crashed, everybody was screaming and there was full of fear inside the cabin. And then after a few seconds or a few minutes, I don't remember how long it was. I feel like it's been forever. And finally, when the plane stopped, and there was kind of silence for some time before people start, realizing we are back alive. And I saw the flight attendant, one of the flight attendants stuck in between inflated slide and the wall of the plane. And the other side, there's a little tiny, girl, the flight attendant. She was basically organizing emergency exit and preparing evacuation and helping everyone so calmly and professionally. Of course, she was crying. She was on tears all over, but she was carrying, helping like a big man, twice big as her, and trying to get him out of the plane and helping other people and other crews as well. She was amazing.
Yeah, so many people are calling the flight crew nothing but heroes, nothing less than heroes. But, we're looking at the images that you took. These are pictures that you took when you got off the plane. You said you looked out the window. You knew something was wrong when you were landing. But did the pilot come on the loudspeaker at all? Did he tell anybody? Did he tell the passengers to prepare for a rough landing? Any indication that something was about to happen?
Nothing. But right before the plane touches the runway, I could hear they were putting full power through the engine, try to lift the plane back up. But I knew it was too late anyways. That's why I was preparing for the crash.
And Eunice,
luckily it wasn't. Yeah.
Sorry, Eugene, I apologize for that. Eunice, we just want to hear from your daughter quickly. Eunice, I understand you got a text from your dad as soon as he landed, which must have been terrifying. What was it like when you were finally able to see him for the first time?
I felt like I could breathe because there was a huge time gap between when I heard about the crash and when I actually got in touch with my father. And, I finally felt, oxygen in my lungs again. And it was, just that he texted me, I was okay with that.
You're going to let him make that 174th flight?
I'm not ready yet as of today, but I know I have to.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. What a harrowing experience that must have been, and it's great to see the two of you reunited and back together. Eunice and Eugene Roth.
Thank you so much.
Great family,
Thank
and I'm
you.
glad the oxygen is back in her lungs.
Yes. Now let's bring in ABC News aviation consultant Colonel Stephen Ganyard for more details on the crash. He joins us from Washington. Good morning to you, Colonel. And from what you've just heard about Eugene's description of how that plane was landing, do you think that this was a mechanical error or it was a human error?
Sure doesn't sound like mechanical error. If he could hear the engine spool up to a full power position, it tells me that at the last second, this crew realized how low and how slow they actually were, and they were trying to save the airplane by running the engines up to full throttle. So it doesn't sound to me, at least by the description he's given, that this was a mechanical problem. But this will be something the NTSB will need to look at.
That is, it's extremely useful analysis, Stephen. We appreciate it, especially coming on the heels of this new information we're getting from the eyewitness there and the survivor. Thank you, Stephen Ganyard. We appreciate it.